Hello, everyone. Today, we'll explore how this powerful molecule works tirelessly behind the scenes to protect your cells, boost your immune system, and enhance your overall well being. Join us as we uncover cutting edge research, expert insights, and practical tips for maximizing the benefits of glutathione. Whether you're looking to boost your energy levels, fortify your defenses, or simply optimize your health, this episode is packed with valuable information just for you. So tune in and embark on a journey to harness the transformative power of glutathione. Hello and welcome to High Blood Pressure Wellness Lifestyle Podcast. I am Donna Williams, a certified holistic health coach and founder of infoandhightbloodpressure.com. I help individuals reclaim their health through insightful online programs tailored for reversing, treating, and preventing high blood pressure. My journey is about teaching the power of mindful eating and whole food nutrition, a path that not only reduces dependence on medication, but also revitalizes your overall well being. The choices you make today in your diet can reshape your long term health destiny. I'm here to simply say how you can harness the benefits of nourishing, delicious foods to balance hormones, boost metabolism, and achieve sustainable weight loss. Together, let's unlock the secret to vibrant health, making the journey a joyous and fulfilling one for my wonderful community and for you too. Welcome to a transformative approach to wellness and celebrate the easiness of living well. Today's topic is on unlocking the power of glutathione. I keep mixing this up, but bear with me. Your ultimate guide to the master antioxidant. Today we have a very special guest. Her name is Dr. Gina Nick, an esteemed health and wellness expert. Dr. Gina is a world-renowned now I'm getting all twisted up, naturopathic physician, researcher, and formulator based in Newport Beach, California, with a dedication to holistic wellness. She's known for her expertise in treating a wide range of health concerns, from autoimmune diseases to addiction, recovery, anxiety, and more. Recently, Dr. Gina has enjoyed her role as a Maha influencer, as seen on Fox News, to provide input on health concerns that impact the nation. So let's welcome Dr. Gina to today's episode where we unlock the incredible power of glutathione, the master antioxidants you have been looking forward to learning about. I'm thrilled to dive into this important topic with you today. But before we begin, I want to emphasize that this podcast episode is crafted for informational and educational purposes only. It is not intended to replace personalized medicine advice from a qualified healthcare professional. Always consult with your physician or a healthcare provider when making decisions about your health. As we explore the intricacy of glutathione, we'll discuss its critical role in maintaining our overall well being. But it's essential we do so with an awareness of ethical and safety considerations. We all want to ensure all information is accurately conveyed and tailored to individual needs. Remember, supplementation and health interventions can have varied effects depending on personal health conditions. Now, without further ado, let's turn our attention to our distinguished guest, Dr. Gina, who is an accomplished expert in the field, bringing a wealth of knowledge and insights into the biological magic of antioxidants. Sorry. So, to kick off our discussion, could you please elaborate, Dr. Gina, on what glutathione is and why it holds such significance for our health?
Well, first of all, thank you so very much, Donna, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm very excited to have this conversation and talk about the connection between antioxidants and cardiovascular health, and really do a deep dive into that. And so I'm very happy to be here. Thank you. So
Thank you.
what is glutathione? Glutathione is considered the mother of all antioxidants, the master antioxidant. And what's an antioxidant? It basically is a compound. They are found in your body, and they're also found in whole foods, certain foods, quality foods. And they bind to toxins that we're exposed to and help render them inactive so that they can get removed from the body. So they help to neutralize what's called free radicals or toxins that cause disease. That's the simplest way, I think, to share that. So glutathione is really interesting. It's what's called a tripeptide, which means it's comprised of 3 amino acids: glutamic acid, glycine, and cysteine. And it is found in every cell in the body. Your body naturally manufactures it. There are higher concentrations in different areas of the body, like the liver, a main detoxification organ. But it works in so many different ways. So glutathione helps to lower inflammation in the body. And we've all heard a lot about inflammation since COVID. I think most people now know what that is.
Yes.
But when I'm talking about inflammation, I'm really talking about silent inflammation. So it's not like if you get a bug bite and it's, you see it, it's red, it's inflamed, right? That's
Yes.
one kind. Silent inflammation is insidious. It is directly correlated with things like cardiovascular disease and a lot of other chronic illnesses. And you don't see it. You can test for it indirectly in different ways. But glutathione is very powerful in lowering inflammation throughout the body. And so that's one key point. Also, glutathione is a major detoxification agent. So it takes toxins, like I was saying, and helps remove them from the body. Toxins cause disease, cause cellular damage, and cause disease. And so it's just one of those things where when I came across all of the research on glutathione, I was blown away. There are over 100,000 clinical research studies on the power of glutathione. Yet most people don't know what it is.
Yes.
I was a trained, licensed naturopathic physician, wrote a book about detoxification, created, when I was director of research for a nutritional supplement company, Standard Process. I created a whole detox program for them, the 21-day purification program. And I knew about glutathione. I used it in my practice, but I didn't really like comprehend the power of this one molecule. And so I was hired by a company to research glutathione in my practice. And that's why I did I was like, well, I'm being paid to do this. Most doctors don't have time to do this unless they're, it's a job,
Of course.
unfortunately. And so I really dived in. And I was like, why doesn't everybody know about this? Everyone needs to know about it. And it was then and there that I said, okay, I want to make glutathione a household name, and I want to make this accessible to everybody because I see how powerful it is for immune function, inflammation, cognitive health, detoxification. I mean, there are so many things that glutathione impacts within the body. So,
Of course, because
yeah.
most of our diseases has the foundation of inflammation.
Yes.
No getting away from it. But how can we adopt a specific lifestyle or dietary recommendations that can naturally boost glutathione levels in people with high blood pressure?
So first thing is remove the cause. Remove the cause of why there's less glutathione, in the body. And there are different populations that have varying levels of glutathione in their body. And I'm like, well, why? Why is it certain nationalities have higher levels, other nationalities have lower levels? That doesn't make sense. Why? Right? Just like how different nationalities have different genetic predispositions to certain health challenges.
Yes.
Right? There's that correlation there. Well, it
Yes.
turns out glutathione is a key point there because lower glutathione in the body means more inflammation, which leads to these diseases associated with chronic inflammation.
Of course.
Yeah. And so it becomes really important to look at how do we first remove any barriers to our body making its own glutathione. How do we do that? Well, stress, environmental stress, psychological stress, stress with the big
You
S.
can't get away from it.
However, it is one of the key determinants of levels of glutathione in the body because stress taxes the body of its own glutathione levels.
Wow.
And so it's one of those things where we all say, oh, life is stressful, we're stressed, et cetera. What can we do so one of the ways to maintain healthy glutathione levels, one of the first ways is managing stress. And how do you do that? One of the best researched ways to do that is actually by spending time in nature, listening to the sounds of nature, which helps regulate a main stress hormone, cortisol, by up to 70%.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And so that's something where, as we're, our society is more focused on technology and, kind of moving away from spending time in nature, I'm kind of saying, well, as we're looking at what we're teaching our kids, really encourage spending time in nature, listening to the sounds of nature, getting your hands in the dirt, right? Kind of going back to old school ways of operating there, because that actually helps to regulate that stress hormone. And that is an important way
Of
to
course.
not tax your body of glutathione.
But that is nature's way of healing us.
Yes.
When we walk in nature and listen to the natural sounds of the earth, so that is crazy. But I initially knew our environment has something to do with it. But how can we correct it in a more natural, easier way? Because some people that live in the city don't have access to quietness, just silence. As basic as that, they don't even have that to take a deep breath. So, what else can we do?
Yeah. So environment is super important. So whatever step one, I feel like there's always a way, right? So you can always find some nature outside. You can, and when it comes to listening to the sounds of nature, it can be anything. It can be listening to the birds. It can be hearing the rustling of the trees. It can be listening to the sounds of the ocean. But there's something about when humans listen to the sounds of nature, it helps with their stress response. So I can't emphasize that enough because it's free, right? And so if there's a way to do it, kind of put that into your routine on a day-to-day basis. Step one. Diet plays a huge role in how quickly your glutathione levels get depleted. So there are foods that are naturally high in glutathione, and they tend to be foods that have a sulfur component. So things like broccoli, kale, garlic, and then other foods are high in glutathione, like avocados, even strawberries, even, believe it or not, red meat has higher levels of glutathione. Yeah. Grass-fed has higher levels than not grass-fed. And so we find glutathione within our foods as well.
Okay.
And then from a lifestyle perspective, it's minimizing exposure to toxins as best as we can, environmental toxins. So that's looking at organic produce, looking at
cleaning the planet. How do we get away from toxin? We'd have to clean the planet.
I know, but it starts with us. and so we do what we look. It's one of those things where you start with whatever you can start with. You start where you were at. Like that's just right. Life 101. You start where you're at. And so look around. What can I do differently? Can I access a local farmer's market and get some of my produce from there? Instead of going
that
to
has
grocery,
become so commonplace now.
which is amazing.
Amazing. Yes.
That's huge. Just doing that, you are lowering your toxic burden on a day-to-day basis. Diet is so important because we eat every day. And it's also one of the hardest things I've noticed. I've been practicing for 25 years. One of the hardest things to help patients transition to in their life is a true change in diet, because it's such an ingrained part of our day-to-day lifestyle. It's such a habit what we eat, and oftentimes we don't realize that we're eating maybe poorly on a day-to-day basis because you're just so used to it. You're living your life, you're doing your thing, you're going through McDonald's because it's convenient, it's there, you've got your kids or whatever the situation may be. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but it is cost benefit
Cost
analysis.
or
It's
cost effective. It is not
of
to be eating healthy. It's very expensive.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why I'm getting active, on more on national scale is I feel why aren't people who are investing in purchasing locally grown food, organic food, they should be incentivized to do that. It shouldn't be that should be more expensive than eating, junk food that causes illness, that taxes the healthcare system.
Of course.
Right. So we should be, as a society, incentivized to be eating whole, organic, quality foods. And that's what should be
Yes.
that's what needs to happen. And I believe that is going to start to happen. Oh, it's going to take
I
time.
think so too,
Yeah.
especially now with the convenience of if you don't have a backyard. Now they've made so many stands, vegetable stands, that you can
Yes.
have it on your balcony, your windowsill.
Yeah.
So plant one or two things and get started there. So that's amazing.
Yeah. And that's all it takes. It's like just start wherever you're at. Just do it. Right. Pick one thing and start growing, in your apartment or wherever you are, whatever you have. But get going in that direction because food, don't underestimate the power that your diet has on your health, your well-being, your mental state, your long-term health, risk of chronic illness. It is what it's true. And also don't assume that packaged foods, even though they have nice pretty labels on them, are even marketed to children, don't and even if they say healthy on the package, doesn't mean they are. And so you really have to be mindful and read ingredients and just from a big picture perspective, get back to whole unprocessed foods as much as possible. And
And
taking
once
that
they
time.
start, their taste bud change.
Oh yeah.
And it's good. But are there any side effects? What are the potential risk or side effects of taking glutathione supplements for someone with hypertension?
Oh, yeah. So whenever I'm talking about nutritional supplements, I'm a big believer in testing and working with a qualified doctor who knows your medical history and is schooled in how to use nutritional supplements to help balance the body out. Right. So I always say, don't just, start taking supplements willy-nilly. One, you can waste money. And
Or
two, if you're on certain medications, there can be interactions. So you want to work with a qualified healthcare professional. Glutathione is unique. It has a very, very high safety profile. And one of the reasons for that is it's naturally occurring in the body. Your body makes it, right? It's in all your cells. So it's something that's well recognized by your body.
mm,
And so, from a side effect, oftentimes glutathione will be injected. And so there are the side effects of getting an injection. And so that's where the area can become irritated. And, any side effects are associated with getting any sort of injection that is tied to a glutathione injection. So there's that issue. Glutathione can speed up the detoxification process. So if
mhm.
you are on a medication, theoretically, it might clear the medication from the body quicker than your body has been accustomed to because it supports liver detoxification. So sort of like how oftentimes you'll see don't drink grapefruit juice if you're on a certain prescription medication because it supports detoxification and it can clear that medication from your system quicker. So that's
Yes.
a consideration. When I created a glutathione supplement, and what I chose to do is create it at a dosage that would be naturally occurring in just a high quality diet. So looking at the amount of glutathione that's found in broccoli and, a healthy serving of some of these nutrient dense whole foods and put it into supplement form because it's mimicking what you would get from consuming it from eating healthy foods.
But when you say, I didn't realize it affect the medication of the body. So as you know, high blood pressure medication
Yeah.
has to be pretty consistent.
Yes.
So, how do you, if someone wants to take it to help with the inflammation, because that
Yeah.
is good in a sense,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
how do we do the balance?
Yeah. So that's working with a qualified healthcare professional who can monitor you. Right. So when I have patients in my practice who are on high blood pressure medication, I will introduce glutathione and then I monitor them. Right. And so we're closely monitoring their blood pressure. And if the blood pressure medication needs to be modified, we modify it. Oftentimes with my patients, they end up getting off of the blood pressure medications over time and their hypertension is resolved and things are stable, but that takes time and work, working together. And so that would be something with all supplements. If you're on a prescription medication, there are lots of different interactions that can occur with supplements. And so you do have to be careful. There's also specific nutrients that can be depleted from the body when you're on certain medications. So to know what those are, and then to supplement with those to help keep the body in balance and help to offset potential side effects from just getting a nutrient deficiency from taking a medication. Most people don't know that.
Well, how do
Like
you
statin
measure?
medications. So like you've heard of like Lipitor, et
Yes,
cetera. Statin medications are known for lowering coenzyme Q10 levels.
mm,
Coenzyme Q10 is a very important nutrient for supporting heart health, cardiovascular health,
or
essential, and brain health, and a
yes,
lot of other things. And so that's one where if you're on a statin medication, talk to your doctor about, hey, does it make sense for me to also be supplementing with coenzyme Q10? Always glutathione. I'm a big fan. I feel like, the world needs glutathione. I truly do. I truly do. Because I feel like I test my patients in my practice for, relative glutathione levels. And inevitably, most of them, when they first start out, are low. And why is that? It's because we're exposed to more toxins than ever before. And patients, when they're coming in because they have chronic health issues,
right.
right?
They're not
Where
well.
generally your glutathione levels will be lower if you have inflammation going on. And so, that's
But how do you go about measuring the level so you can know if the body determine if you need it? Suppose we have to be factual. It's not everyone has access to medical coverage. So it can be a bit expensive to, maintain the body, monitor your health.
yes.
So is there a way for them to measure the body, their own body, and know that they might determine to need more of
Us.
glutathione?
So, and I mean, when you say without access to medical care, so there are there's lab tests, that you can get done.
Okay.
So, right. So there's different ways, and I've looked at all the different ways. You can test directly for glutathione. There's pros
What's
and
an
cons to
idea
that.
of what they can notice to make them say, let me go
Symptoms.
check it out? Yes.
Symptoms wise. Yeah. If you have inflammation in your body, if you are challenged if you've been diagnosed with a chronic health issue where
Yes,
there's an inflammatory component, like high blood pressure,
of course.
cardiovascular disease,
Of course.
fibromyalgia,
Hmm.
hypothyroidism or Hashimoto's thyroiditis, depression, anxiety, even
Depression.
cognitive
Oh,
decline
that's
are
strange. I didn't
associated
think
with
of that.
inflammation, something called neuroinflammation, which glutathione crosses the blood brain barrier and
Mm.
helps to lower neuroinflammation
Wow.
and protects the brain. The brain is very vulnerable to exposure to toxins from pesticides, herbicides, environmental pollutants, even electromagnetic frequencies, radiation, and so forth. The brain is
Yes.
sensitive to that, and glutathione levels get depleted in the brain quicker. And so that's another reason why you want to either be consuming glutathione-rich foods and or supplementing with glutathione to help protect your cells. I see it more as like a preventive as well, not just to treat a condition. So if you're
I
wanting
like
to
that.
keep yourself healthy, because I also have patients who are just looking for peak health. They look great, they feel great, they're athletes, they're successful, all of that. They want to stay that way.
Of
What
course.
should you take? And that's where I've been using nutritional supplements for my entire practice. I'm very passionate about them. It's what I love to. I love formulating. It's what I do. And this glutathione formula is like my baby. I just really, I'm very, very passionate about it. And so another area, if you're going through perimenopause or menopause, if you're a woman going through that phase of life, perimenopause can last like 10 years where your hormones start to decline. And with that comes an increased risk of cardiovascular disease in women, Alzheimer's disease, hormone sensitive cancers, and so forth, osteoporosis. And what's happening is you're having this gradual decline of hormones like progesterone and estrogen, some testosterone. Well, during that time, taking glutathione will help your body maintain balance. So you don't experience the same symptoms that women going through perimenopause can experience. The hot flashes, the mood swings, the sleep disturbances.
Panic attack, everything.
It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare for women. I have one of my favorite examples, and I always talk about this even when I'm presenting to medical doctors and things. I have a patient, wonderful. She's a lawyer and a judge, very analytic, will not take any supplements, no nutritional supplements, refuses. But was going through perimenopause and experiencing all the symptoms, didn't want to take hormones either. Because I'll sometimes prescribe bioidentical hormones. Won't do any of that. Won't take any herbal medicines that mimic hormones, nothing. Willing to take glutathione. So she started taking glutathione and her symptoms within weeks resolved. I mean, within weeks.
Oh my gosh.
And this is somebody who, she, like I said, a judge, a lawyer, really isn't vulnerable to like placebo effect, right? And so it's working or it's not.
Not working.
End of discussion, full stop. And so, but her symptoms went away. She was having sleep disturbances. She was losing like the luster in her skin, mood swings, weight gain, all the things all women going through that know about. And so she took it, everything resolved. She decided to have an experiment and stop taking it. The glutathione. I formulated a product called Best Daily Ever. So she was one of my patients in the early days that was starting to use it. And so she stopped taking it. Within weeks, her symptoms came back.
Oh my God.
And so that's just one of many, many stories. But I love that one because she didn't want to take any supplements. She didn't want to take any hormones, but she did want her symptoms to go away. And it was tied to just in lowering inflammation, because as your hormone levels go down, inflammation goes up. A hormone deficiency will trigger inflammation, especially estrogen. And most women don't know that. Most doctors don't know that. An estrogen deficiency will cause inflammation. And I think that's one of the reasons why there's an increased risk for things like cardiovascular disease and Alzheimer's disease in women going through and post-menopause.
Yes, because we're not getting the estrogen, keep depleting. But the best thing I'm hearing so far is that skin health. I mean, I would want that.
Right.
It helps us look younger.
So in Japan, glutathione is very, very popular. It's actually prescription there, and it's used for like skin lightening and for improving like collagen synthesis as well. This is in very, very high doses. So I'm talking
different forms of glutathione.
There's different forms of glutathione. So you can have it injected. It can be done through IV, intramuscular injection. You can also take it orally, but a lot of the...
Can you do it on your own? I know some medications you have to inject yourself, but is that the only way you can take it?
Glutathione? No.
Yeah.
So in injection form, you usually would want to have a doctor or a nurse administer it, if you're doing it in that form. But then there's oral forms. The problem with oral forms, and the reason why I created these glutathione pixie sticks, like to taste good, is because glutathione doesn't taste good normally. It has it smells horrible, it tastes horrible because it's of the sulfur component to that particular tripeptide. It just is what it is. So that's always in my practice. It's always been a problem is patient compliant. There are some good glutathione products out on the market, and but they don't taste great. And so getting patients to keep taking it, it wasn't working. I couldn't get them to do it. And so that was another thing that kind of triggered my desire to come up with a formula that actually is bioavailable. Because another issue is glutathione in general when you take it in oral form versus injection, it will break down in the stomach because of the stomach acid into the different amino acids. So it won't stay intact. So there aren't a lot of ways to take it orally where it actually works.
So how often would you need injections?
So injections are typically every other week or once a week. Yeah. Yeah. And it's expensive. It's not inexpensive.
Not even that. I do acupuncture,
Yes.
like mostly every other week. And I've been doing this from the 90s, and I'm still afraid of the needle. So for injections every other week, that's a huge commitment.
It is a huge commitment. And that was another thing, like who wants to do that on a long-term basis, right?
What do you recommend?
That's why I created this product. So I created a product called Best Daily Ever Vitamin G Glutathione Pixie Sticks. So
Tell
I
us
had
about it.
decided, it was during COVID. I was homeschooling my daughter, and there was a research study that came out showing that glutathione helped prevent a severe reaction to COVID. And I was thinking, what can I give my daughter to keep her healthy, or her immune system healthy, and all that. And of course, my patients who I was doing injections with, right, at the time. And I said, after I saw the research, I was like, I want to come up with a way where even a child would take it and like it and want to take it, right? So a supplement
It tastes good. It
that
doesn't
tastes
taste
good
bad.
without sugar in it. That was the
Okay.
big thing, is I didn't want it to have sugar in it. I wanted it to be effective, bioavailable, but taste good, which is not easy to do. But I was inspired. I was totally inspired to do this. And first go round, I created a formula and I sent it to the lab. I got the results back, and it was perfect. It tasted like a pixie stick, like what I grew up taking, unfortunately. And so it really did taste amazing. And quite frankly, the product that's on the market today is exactly the same one as the original sample I got back. I never had to change the formula. It was like perfect from the beginning. And what I put in there was not just glutathione. I put in other cofactors like vitamin D3 and vitamin C and zinc and magnesium and glycinate
Very
to
necessary.
help boost what's called reduced glutathione levels in the body, active glutathione. So in the body, you have glutathione. Your body's exposed to toxins. It uses the glutathione, right, up to get rid of those toxins. And then the glutathione turns to something called oxidized glutathione, because it gets used up basically. And then it has to get recycled back to reduce glutathione. Well, guess what? In order to do that, it takes up a lot of nutrients in the body. It actually uses up nutrients in the body, B vitamins, magnesium, zinc, essential nutrients to keep the glutathione levels active. So I looked at that and I said, okay, I want to create a formula where I'm giving glutathione, yes, but I'm also giving the body what it needs to maintain healthy levels. So that's what this formula is. And my thing is, don't give high doses. Like, I don't necessarily recommend IVs except in extreme situations, because your body is under tight homeostatic control with glutathione, which means your body regulates just how much glutathione is there at any one time.
Of course.
There are mechanisms. So when people see, oh, there's all this amazing research on glutathione, it's the best thing since sliced bread. More is better. No, it's not. No, it's not. Because if you take a lot, what are you doing? You're depleting all the nutrients that your body uses to keep those levels up and high. And so it's kind of a waste. So that's where I was like, okay, I want to encourage taking something like on a day-to-day basis, like you do food, because you're exposed to toxins on a day-to-day basis. Your body uses up glutathione on a day-to-day basis at a dosage that's reasonable. and to maintain those levels and maintain optimal health and keep inflammation at bay long term.
Is it cost effective?
So it's, the form that I use, I've been formulating products like
Forever.
since I was director of research at Standard Process Nutrition. I helped them to open their research department. So this is 20 plus years ago. And even then, I was always an advocate for using raw materials that were branded and had the research behind them. They would oftentimes be 5 times more expensive than something, say, that you could get from China that said the same thing, right? So the label looked the same, but
Right.
it was not. However, the formulas I've created for them are still on the market today. So it speaks to the longevity of them. And these are formulas that are prescribed by doctors to their patients.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that is a way of saying, when it came to creating my own formula for my own company, I wasn't going to compromise, what I believe in terms of using raw materials that actually work. So that being said, cost effective, well, I would say take a pixie stick instead of going and buying Starbucks coffee. Way better for you. Way better and a lot cheaper. So it's a lot cheaper than having your Starbucks every day. But my gosh, is a way to optimize cognitive health, support immune function, keep inflammation balanced, keep your hormone levels balanced. So.
And to be honest, I've heard this saying more than once, health is wealth. So you spend the money there and stay healthy. That's
That's
my
what,
belief. And
yeah.
you cut back on different things if you have to. But are there any myths and misconceptions about it?
About glutathione?
Yes, the myth and
Yes.
misconception.
Yes. Yes. One is you can't take glutathione in oral form because it doesn't work. That's been peddled out there forever, and it's not true. There's a couple ways to take glutathione in oral form where it is clinically proven to actually boost blood levels of glutathione. So that has been debunked, but people
Well,
need education
what
on.
about the taste?
So glutathione tastes bad. It just does. However, the pixie sticks don't. They taste like pixie sticks without sugar. There's a little bit of stevia. And then I use something called glycine, which is one of the amino acids found in glutathione. I use that as a sweetener because I've been formulating products for patients as well throughout my career. And I would always use glycine as a sweetener. And so I literally woke up one morning and I was like, why am I not going to put glycine in this formula I'm creating?
Or
Because of course, and it's another way to boost glutathione levels naturally. You're giving your body one of the components that makes up glutathione, but it happens to have a nice sweet taste to it. So
mm,
anyway, so there is a way to have glutathione taste great. We've done it. That's what I'm, here sharing information about. The misconception that more is better. That's a myth and a misconception. More glutathione is not better because, like I had said, glutathione is under tight homeostatic control, meaning the body is tightly regulating just how much glutathione it will accept into its cells, and the rest is going to get rejected. And so more is not better.
okay. I've also heard, because I've been doing research about this Sartaria glutathione. How does it differ from the other glutathiones
Yeah.
supplements?
So Cetria glutathione is, and I came across it because I did research on it in my own practice, right? And then I started lecturing on it. So that's how I knew about it. But it's a branded form of glutathione. There are a couple branded forms of glutathione that have the double-blind, placebo-controlled trials to support the fact that they actually boost blood levels, even though you're taking it in oral form. So there's Cetria, and then there's something called Opitac. Those are the two branded glutathione ingredients that
Mhm.
are proven to boost. So when you're looking at the label, let's say you go to Costco or whatnot, and you're like, okay, I'm going to try this glutathione that I heard about. Make sure you look at the ingredient list and make sure that you see one of those branded ingredients there, because you can get L-glutathione for very cheap, very
Mm.
cheap.
Mm.
And so you might see a lot of glutathione supplements on the market. Doesn't mean they are the ones that have been proven to actually boost blood levels and bypass the breakdown in the digestive tract.
Yes, or create deficiencies in other essential
Yeah,
nutrients.
that's the other area. Is it's not just glutathione. You want to be taking those cofactors to keep the whole cycle in balance.
So, where can my listeners or audience learn more about your work and also to order glutathione's products?
So I think there will be a link in your show notes
Of
to
course.
it. So bestdailyever.com is
Mhm.
the website. And then there's a special link for listeners of this particular podcast where they'll get a discount, if they use that link. And so we'll make sure that,
What is the link?
and we'll make sure that you have that.
Okay.
I'll make sure that that gets to you before we're done here. But that's the website. So right now we're just direct to consumer. We're not yet available at like Whole Foods or places like that. So it's just
The
online.
start.
Yeah.
It's the start. And once it gain, especially word of mouth,
Yeah.
it will take off, because
Yes.
it's great. I love the idea, to be honest,
Yeah.
because anything with inflammation, once you can control that inflammation, you have a chance.
Yes.
You
Oh
have
yeah.
a chance.
As a naturopathic physician, I was one of the main things I was taught was the body has the ability to heal itself.
Yes.
And when
And
I
I
look at
found that to
that,
be true for myself. Yes.
yes, yes. And we underestimate the power of our own vital force and our body's ability to really get back to balance. You give it what it needs
Give it what it
and
needs.
remove the things that are keeping it from being healthy, remove
Hmm.
the barriers to cure. But when I look at that, I feel that glutathione plays a very key role in how the body is able to heal itself.
Heal itself.
Yes, one of them, because again, it's manufactured in almost every cell in the body.
So I can't think of any more questions. So I'd like to ask you, is there anything we didn't mention yet you would like to inform us on? Give us, it's a free for all. Tell us what you think we should know and do.
Uh, don't underestimate the impact that stress has on your health, and that includes mental, emotional stress, and also environmental stress. And so, really be mindful, be an advocate for yourself and your own health. And if you see that you're in an environment that is too stressful, it can be a baby step, but take a step towards helping to offset that stress on your own body, because you'll be doing a lot more for optimizing your health long term than taking any medication.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you can't be an advocate for yourself, get someone to help you be an advocate for yourself.
Yes, yes, that too.
Yes.
We need both.
We need both.
Yeah.
So, as we wrap up this enlightening episode, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to all our listeners for joining us on this journey to better health. We have explored the profound impact that glutathione, the master antioxidant, can have on our well being, especially those of us who are managing high blood pressure. I also want to extend my deepest gratitude to Dr. Gina for sharing her invaluable insights and expertise with us. Her explanations have truly helped us understand the potential benefits and considerations when it comes to incorporating glutathione into our health regimens. But I also heard your passion. I heard your passion and your belief, and I know how strongly you feel about the benefits of this antioxidant and the help it can offer that is natural, might be a little expensive, but so worth it if it gives you back your health. So remember, our discussion today served as an educational platform aimed at empowering you with knowledge. With knowledge, you can do practically anything. So you can take charge of your health. As always, please consult with your healthcare provider to tailor these insights to your personal health needs. Thank you for tuning in. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and share it with your friends and family who might find this information very helpful. We look forward to bringing you more episodes packed with valuable tips and expert advice on achieving a healthy lifestyle. Until next time, take care and prioritize your health.